Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Hola, how are you? Welcome to Oche Kitchen Discussions. Another beautiful episode. The weather is getting beautiful. Although it's a little bit breezy, cloudy, but at least we're seeing sunshine. Today's topic is about the boy-child freedom. We're going to be talking about men this period, okay? Because they've been complaining that we've been talking about women, women, girls, and girls and girls. So we're going to talk about the boy-child freedom.
Hmm.
As the boy child grows to manhood, he is faced with a diversity of challenges, such as domestic violence, among others, the burden of providing livelihood for the family as father and husband, even when the wife earns more than the husband. And even as boyfriends, girls will not visit men without saying, give me my transport money or my, what
Money
is
for
it called?
hair. Money for hair.
Bolivian hair, whatever. Yeah. On various occasions, there have been cases of men being victims of domestic violence, mostly verbal and psychological, mental violence at the hands of their spouses or family members, friends, and relatives. On such occasions, however, oftentimes culture dictates that a man should be strong and therefore not report. Consequently, such issues are left papered over and concealed so as to seemingly maintain the status quo of societal expectations. Yeah, because we all always expect men to be, mbombo. So, having said that, my first question of the day is, what issues do boys struggle with? Chris, are you ready to talk? Welcome to the show.
Just joined. Hi, Chris.
All right, Benson, can you take it from us? Because I want to hear from the male perspective. Benson, can you talk? Hello, where's everybody?
I can hear you. Ben, can you hear us?
Benson.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
men
you
can't
said
hear.
Okay.
All
We're
right.
talking about them.
What issues do boys struggle with?
issues.
Because like
Can
I
you hear me?
was saying earlier, growing up, boys are, they have this burden that they have to be the man, they have to provide, they have to do this, they can't do it, they can't cry, they can't this, they can't this, they have this macho thing about. So what issues do you think as a boy growing up, what issues do boys struggle with in a societal, point of view?
DJ, can I add something before
Or you
Ben
want us to
speak?
come back to
Are we
you?
talking about boys as in just boys or boy and men? Are we talking about grown
Everything
boys?
together, boys
Everything
grow
together,
into
yeah.
men. My
So if
first statement was, as the boy child grows into manhood, so
yeah.
he is faced with a diversity of challenges such as domestic violence, the
Hmm.
burden of providing livelihood for the family as father and husband. So it starts from the boyhood,
To
because
men,
as a
yeah.
boy you train them, you can't cry, you can't do this, you have to provide for your man, you have to do this, you have to do this. So it starts from the boyhood into the boyhood into manhood.
Hmm. Okay. Ben, yeah, you could tell us, even if from a younger boy's point of view or older boys, which is
Well, well, if I understood the question very well, I think the struggle here basically is on how to provide for the family, how to be there, how to be in the shoes of his dad if his dad is not there,
hmm.
all those stuff. So I think that's basically what I feel they are struggling with. Because if your dad is there and is doing everything, when once he's no longer there, everything is like back on you to administer the family, to take care of the family, all those stuff. So I think it starts from when their fathers are not there to be in that space they want to be. So it's an issue to them. How would they cope up if such things happen? How can they keep up with what their
But
fathers?
as a society itself, from a societal point of view, um, do you think there's so much burden on boys to be tough men that they have to be and act a certain way?
I don't. Well, it could go both ways. There could be the societal standpoint and the personal one, but I think basically sometimes, like for me, the society somehow don't define what I will do. But some allow the society to determine that for them. But for me, I don't think they can determine for me because they will not carry my burden. They can't push me into things I will not do. They can't carry my burden. They can only say it. They can only say it, but you can't push me into it.
Thank you. Chris, can you talk?
Yes. Good afternoon,
Hi,
everyone.
welcome back. Happy New Year. We missed
Onion,
you.
onion,
Longest time.
onion, good morning.
Benson, jidekwa onye ma ahụ n'ọnụ gị.
Benson, it's
Please,
because of you. Oga Chris hasn't been coming. So, Benson, please.
Benson, ka eke isi akpọkwa
Day your
onye
day.
nsọ.
Hi, go yeah.
Biko, Oje, pretend ya na-eno gị ya.
Oh no, yeah.
No, I didn't hear him.
Okay, thank God. Benson, etigwa m na trouble.
So, Oga Chris, what issues do you see boys struggle with growing up into manhood?
Wow.
Oshiriko.
Issues boys struggle with growing into manhood. And just have a boy that is growing into manhood.
Yeah, I know.
We talked about it.
That's why I wanted you to be the first to speak because, yeah, you always talk about him. Yeah.
The issues, they are just learning things on their own because I'm not a talkative. I don't feel comfortable telling him nah. Le. Sorry, I was speaking evil.
Go ahead.
I haven't engaged him, on issues like that. I asked him about girlfriend, or something like that, or what do you do when? Who is that person interrupting us?
My apologies on her behalf.
Apologies, Makagi accepted.
I know.
So, not mind me. I'm in the office trying to. I have my whiskey anyway, so if you guys forgive me. So, so the issue, one of the problems they have, and we have is, I'm not the talkative one when it comes to that area because I don't like making him feel uncomfortable. But he's discovering everything on his own. The only thing I try to engage him and, is how to interact with people, how to be kind, how to bring his dress sense and all those things and how to comport himself. But when it comes to all those issues about a relationship, how do you handle the changes that are going on in your body? I think, I've thought about that, but I think that those are conversations they will have with their friends. Because we growing up, I don't think my father told me how to pee. But look at us now, we can, pee very well. So I could be wrong, this kid is, but he's good.
What about the burden of being like turning into a man? Like you have to be a man. Men don't cry. Men have to provide. Men, if a woman slap you, you have to take it with your full chest. Like the burden of, the boy child being like, the society is expecting so much from them. Like, a woman can cry, but men can cry. A woman can have money, but the man has to provide. A woman, you don't touch a woman, but if a woman slaps you, those are the things we're talking about. Like,
The only thing I tell him is no is no.
Yeah.
The only thing is no is no. Boys don't cry. I cry. If you show me kindness, common thing, I cry. It doesn't mean that if you slap me, I won't push you off the ledge. It's a misconception that men don't cry, men don't cook. I encourage him to cook, to be independent, because he doesn't know where he's going to find himself. All those misconceptions. Because
that's the burden put on women too. Yeah.
I said, look, I cook for you. There was a time my wife went to Nigeria, stayed for 3 months. We didn't buy anything outside. So I still work, I still come back and I cook. I said, you enjoy it, how do you think, or where do you think that I learn all these things? So you should be able to, because someday you're going to be cooking for your children. But
Very
you
true.
cook at least so that you don't depend, your kitchen won't be outside, and it ties to your health and every other thing.
Yeah.
You know, so I try to tell him as much as I can, as much as I have opportunity, and we spend time together. And the way I relate to people and the way I see issues or how I react, he watches me and he learns. And I don't shout like women. My wife, I said, come on, sit down and talk to this guy. And I found out that if I have a conversation, try to explain to him why. Sometimes when you tell him to do dishes, you know, initially before he was like, you know how they behave. I said, okay, let's break this thing down. I go to work, I do all these things, I come back. It's just you, me, your mom. We don't have any house, we don't have anybody. So do you want me to do the dishes or do all those things, or who? After coming back from work, just think about it, and even the dishes that you used. So I think since that day, since that talk, you can't see him frowning. Even sometimes I would tell him, go and finish your schoolwork before. He said, no, I'm good. So that was, so in every other thing that we have conversation, he has worked. So I go into dialogue, I say, son, because I call him son, and I say, down, you know, how about you look at this thing this way? And it has always has positive results. So that's the way so far. Those ones are engaging, but in other things like, you know, the changes, being a man and all those things. I was looking at him the other day, he has his, you know, mustache or whatever they call it. I said, wow, so he's gonna learn how to do the razor. And if this place is coming up, imagine down there how it is. So he's gonna figure a way on how to do that. So and he wouldn't feel comfortable with me trying to, you know, go outside, but I just let him. Things will fall in place. All I need to do is just to provide him the guidance when, and they discover things from the internet and talking with their friends. But it's a good challenge, and I would love to have that experience with having a female that is a daughter that I can, you know, share some of this excess love.
Oh.
Well, that's
Don't worry, come on, adopt.
I don't know.
I'm up for adoption.
I don't. Please, I'm going to file papers right away.
Please, I'm up for adoption. I need a zaddy. Thank you. Adibeli, can you unmute yourself? Adibeli.
Mama Boys, aka Mama Boys. Call her Mama Boys.
That's why I wanna pick on her, yeah. Adi.
She's there. Adibeli, are you there? You have Libaba. Let's see what his challenges were. When you go into this handsome man who they see every minute.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, good evening, my brother. I know you came late. We're talking about as a boy child grows into manhood, the diversity of challenges they face. Like they go through domestic violence, they have to be a provider, and you know, so many things like the girl child can, you know, like overlook. They expect so much from the boy child, like you get woes you have because you have to do this is your family. You have to, if a woman slaps you, you have to chalk it up, you know, so many things, you know. So as a boy that grew into manhood, what issues do you see boys struggle with?
Boys struggle with a lot of things, and first of all, peer pressure.
Yes.
You have friends that I always like to categorize houses or growing up. There are some people who are from homes and there are some people who are from houses.
Very true.
People who are from homes are people who, even though a single mother or a single father, they have morals.
Mm-hmm.
People who are from houses, even if the two parents are there, they don't have morals. And they have nothing to offer.
Yeah.
So growing up, we had people from houses and we have people from homes. And those people from houses had strong morals that even when you push them to the wall, they won't do some certain things you push them to do. Those from houses, now them go carry gun, and them go carry cigar come school, and them go tell you where babes they for Abba.
Yeah.
And them go tell you all the bad things where they happen. And what happens if you're not well latered?
Yeah.
You'll be pushed to follow them. And the worst part of it, that those of them that are from homes will do the same thing these boys that come from houses do.
Yeah.
And those boys won't get into problem. But you that is from a home, you get into problem.
Because you don't know how to navigate the
You
outside
understand?
world.
Let's say, for instance, we go to somewhere and they say, okay, exactly. Let's, Dr. Merum's house now. In Aba back then, he had this big Odara. And when most children are coming back from school, they'll be stoning the Odara. The bad boys that will always stone that Odara and come and call you, see where we stone Odara, and we'll go home. The day you go and stone that Odara, maybe that's the day Dr. Merum packed his Volvo outside, and your own stone wreck his windscreen. But people have been stoning this Odara for years, and they have not gotten into any issues. Exactly.
Yeah.
So growing up, we had a lot of peer pressures.
Yes.
I remember when I was in school, in university, my friends and my roommates were forcing me to smoke. I'm not against anybody smoking. We had a policy. I've not smoked in my life, but anything alcohol, I can do with it.
Of course, everybody must have a poison, yeah.
Exactly. So anything alcohol, forget it, in game. But when it has to do with smoking, even when I wasn't of age, from secondary school, we had pressure from people who wanted you to do it. If you don't do them, you'll be moved. You know, belong. You know, be guy man.
Yeah.
And most of the times, when those group of boys see you, they bring you down, they run you down. But if you not be a strong man, you don't go fit stand with them. If you don't get bad mouth, you don't go fit give them back what you're supposed to give them. Rather, you follow them and smoke and you get into a mess. And what happens at the end of the day? You've given way to peer pressure.
Yeah.
Look at this guy that died last week in Mabia State University. The guy don't do 4 years. 4 years of schooling. It's strike of maybe say 5 years, strike and all whatnot. He didn't join cult. 2 months to when he was leaving was when he joined cult. And what happened? They killed him last week. Yes, they shot him. The videos are everywhere.
That's a very good example. The peer pressure to join cult in Nigeria. Yeah.
Exactly. So me as a guy, I had a lot of peer pressure. When we were in school, my friends liked club. They'll force me to come, let's go to club. One of our friends had an accident. And I told myself, if any day we are going to club, in short, I'm not going to drink till I get to final year. And that was what I did. One, I was running away from buying drinks for the wrong people because when you go to drink, somebody who will not like you will force you to buy drinks for him. And what do? If you don't have that money, you start getting into their trouble, you start getting into cult clashes and all whatnot. What I did was simple. I stayed away from alcohol from first year to final year. And when my friends would push me to go for clubbing, only on one condition, I will drive. Why? Because when we get to the club, I won't get drunk. I'll drive everybody home safely. That's the only condition. And they allowed me. Over the years, when we are going to the club, they'll say, okay, no, now I can go drive. We'll drive, we'll go. we'll have fun, we'll come back, everybody's safe. But if you're driving me to the club and driving me back, I know they go. Just one day that I didn't go to the club, one of them had a terrible accident. They nearly
Because you
killed
always
him.
have to have a designated driver.
Exactly,
Somebody
because that day I brought the car. Actually, that day I came back from Lagos with that particular car. And he was so excited because it was his car. I helped him to bring it from the US and I drove him from Lagos. So when I got to Owerri, he decided to drive to the club. I told him, put down tomorrow or next weekend we'll go. He said, no. He went. That same night, he had an accident. And this is the person that I always go to the club with all the time. And he knows that he likes drinking excessively. Me, I wouldn't drink that much, or I wouldn't even drink at all, just for safety. So they gave it to me that this guy, no matter how you put him under pressure, he wouldn't want to drink. And he wouldn't smoke. But if he's home, he would drink. If it's any other occasion, he would drink. So like now, all those things guide me as a man now. If I host a party, I don't drink.
Yes.
Not because I don't want to drink. Because it's my culture not to drink when I'm serving other people or when I'm taking care of other people. But if I come as a guest, I will drink to the level I want to drink.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, Ike, what guided your self-control? Is it your family values or the love for life, that you value life so much you didn't want to die early, or because you knew you came from a home or family, you don't want to disappoint them? What exactly drove that behavior? Because the way you're describing is a lot of self-control for a very young man. Go ahead.
Yeah. That's why he said houses and homes. People from houses and people from homes.
When you say, is it value for life? I laugh. You know why I laugh? Even though I didn't do these things, I did worse things like racing, speeding excessively, that would have done worse things to my life. You understand? So when you talked about value for life, and for somebody like me that likes to speed, I was laughing. I wouldn't say value for life. I would say family values and culture. You know, you people know my mama now. You know the worst time, it don't give you. As she they look you, her wedding ring now weapon already. It don't give you for mouth. You get when you put on immediately. And only they could get too much. Yeah, as a teacher, and when she looks at you, you don't behave, you go collect. When you get home, you must collect. So all those things help me shape the future. Just like this, my landlady now giving me stress now, pinching me from the side. That's why I'm adjusting. When she misbehaves, I don't know when I give it to her immediately. Because
that's what you knew growing up.
Yeah. So I think it's family values and self-control as well that has helped me to stay top-notch till now.
Thank you. All right, OJ, take it away.
Okay. Okay. I didn't know those were the things you were doing.
Because you were in your own bubble.
I was going to ask OJ to verify this.
I'm in awe of all the things, all his escapades. I knew that. Anyway, you know that Ike came from the day he was born. He came as a rascal. The things that the three of us didn't do, he decided to come and do them. And I was actually smiling when he was talking, because as far as we were concerned, and we are concerned in my family, he is the crazy one. So, and my mom would shout, my sister would shout. I was the only one that wasn't shouting at him. And I was also the only one that he could come and say to me, hey, I did this like this. And I'll be like, hey, why now? Sometimes even he will commit a crime, I'll be the one to cry. So it's actually
so what you're trying to say is that like he was committing every day.
This person that you people are seeing,
Okay, also tell them I used to collect my meat so that you won't report me.
Okay, this thing is internet too. So
I ask your question, OJ.
the truth is that
leave Babylon.
it's heartwarming to see that all the shouts, at the end of
Came
the
out
day
good.
paid off. You understand?
Yeah.
And it's always what I say, that no matter what anybody tells you, upbringing and background would always come to the fore. No matter how rascally people become, there are things, family values that were instilled years back that would always reflect somehow. It might not be at the forefront of whatever they're doing, but somehow, you would see it. So, Ike, well done.
But my father always says that every family deserves one crazy person. At least when something goes down, everybody knows that somebody can take care of it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, this one is the one representing my family in the flock of black sheep.
we have a couple in my house, including me.
Okay, so my question is, how do you empower a boy child? Chibuzo, would you like to take that for me? I haven't heard your voice today.
He joined in later.
Yeah, but I mean, this question, even me can answer it. Chibuzo, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Uche. Good evening, everyone.
Chibuzo, good evening. Welcome back.
Yeah,
so,
thank you.
You know what? We're talking about the boy child today.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the freedom, because when the boy child is growing, there are norms and expectations and all that. Then at the end of the day, just like we talked about upbringing, you find out that the boy child would still carve a niche for himself. And that is when he becomes relatively free, because now maybe he has a home of his own, he has his family, and he dictates what he wants to do. Just like Benson said, that society does not necessarily determine what he does. And I agree with him, because the society would always tell you, please be yourself, okay? But in all honesty, what they're saying is, be yourself when you are done being what we want you to be. So, Chibuzo, based on this, my question to you is, how do you empower a boy child?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, OJ. First of all, let me apologize for coming in late. I went out, just
that
came
you
in
came
now.
Is enough for us. It doesn't matter what time you come.
So thank you. For me, I think different technique or strategies should be used for different boy child, depending on the one you have. There's no single way.
100%. I agree with you. 100%.
There's no single way to empower a boy child. There are things that are necessary. There are necessary tools. There are necessary techniques towards empowering a boy child, which is peculiar to every boy child. One of them is prayers. Say in Africa, we like prayer a lot. We continue to pray for them as Africans. Number two is to expose them to the reality of life. You need to expose them to responsibility from the onset, no matter the level the boy child is. Even if the boy child is the last or the middle, when I mean the middle, 3 out of 5, or the first, you need to let them know the responsibility, because if you don't let them know the responsibility, it's going to be very difficult for them when they grow. So you need to start at that level, that teenage level, to make them understand that.
So, Chibuzo, if you don't mind, let me ask you, do you think it's a burden for a boy child to know as a little boy, for the boy child to know that he should be the provider? You don't think it's a burden?
I think it's a burden. I think it's a burden, but also it's good. It's good because the boy will eventually become a man. And when the boy becomes a man, it is the responsibility of the man to take care of the what? Even the Bible said it, the women are just helper. We need to understand it. And that is why a lot of men abuse the father when they marry a good wife who tends to help them, they intend to abuse it. the man is supposed to be the head. He's supposed to cater for the family. The woman is only supposed to be a helper, according to the scripture. Understand?
Increase your volume. Increase your volume, Chibuzo. Go ahead.
Louder for the people at the back.
So it is very understand that we know that the man is supposed to be the provider, the woman is supposed to be a helper. So when you also have a woman who supports you, who turns from a helper to a supporter, you need to appreciate that woman because she's doing more than what the Bible tells her to do. That is the fact. Whether you're Africans or anywhere, that's the fact.
We're not talking about women today.
I know. I'm not. But to answer IJ's question, it is very, very important. It is a burden, and we must judiciously instill that burden on them. Because if you don't do it, when they become a man, it becomes difficult. And that's why you see a lot of men who are depending on women, a lot of them who are not responsible, and the rest of them. So, IJ, to your question, it is a burden that we must judiciously. And if we see that as a burden, also please, we should also know that we should also try as much as possible to limit the level of pressure we put.
That's where the bottlenecks come out. Yeah, because
that's where the body come out. Because when a body comes with so much pressure, it's not more a burden anymore. It becomes for me, it becomes a load. It becomes a load that is too heavy to carry. Understand? People.
That's why they term it a burden, because especially African men are so. Most of them are so. I have to provide. And that's why you see so many young men dropping every day, because they have so much pressure and everything. You know what I mean? And some of these men live with women who can help, and they say, "Oh no, I don't want you to help." And you know what I mean? The burden, because in their mind they believe, "Oh, if I do it, I'm a man and everything." So I think, like, you know.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you, but just like I said, for me, I don't see burden as a negative thing. A lot of people see it as negativity. Burden is not a negative thing.
Is it sorry to cut in, Ike? Sorry, Chibuzo. Is it supposed to be called burden or responsibility? Because when something is a burden, it's a load. So
it's a load. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you understand.
What about responsibility?
If you make them understand that this is what is expected of you, but then again, as a human, do not sweat it. Don't overstretch it.
Exactly. That is what
I'm coming to.
That's how it should be. That's how it should be. Yes.
There should be a balance. While the men are being raised to be responsible and to be at the forefront at taking care of their families, the women too can also be raised to know that they should support. If you have the capabilities, if you have the resources, there is nothing wrong in supporting. In fact, if you can do 50-50, fine.
Yeah.
Like people would say, Onyaka
someone will soon unmute her mic.
I agree with you. I agree with you, OJ. I agree with you. I think for me, it's a collective thing in a family. Marriage is a collective thing. Everyone has to play.
Because it's a partnership.
Yeah, it's a partnership, exactly. Everybody has to play his role. But me and you know that a lot of men tend to abuse it. When they say a woman who tends to, do that 50-50 thing.
That's why we're having this kind of conversation.
Yes. When that Bible was written, then in the 1800s, men to provide was to go, and because then there was nothing like grocery store, there was nothing. The society wasn't like this now. Men had to go and hunt for animals, which women weren't likely to be able to do physically. So we have to, whenever we quote Bible, I don't like when we quote all this Bible and say, because
but even when the men,
remember that Bible was written ages and ages and ages
ago. When the men bring those food in, the ladies are waiting to cook.
Yeah,
you understand? That is them supporting.
Yes.
When the men are out hunting, farming, the ladies are home training the kids. That is them supporting.
Yeah, I agree with you.
As far as I'm concerned, they were also 50-50 then.
It's 50-50.
Thank you, Chibuzo.
See, when I talk about when I talk about responsibility on both parts, it's not all about financial parts. Responsibility also is not about financial parts.
Yeah.
It inculcates the whole thing in the family. You know,
Okay.
a woman must not be bringing 50% of his salary or 50% of her salary to show that she's supporting the man.
Supportive.
There
I
are
get
other
that.
ways. There are other ways that she can be supporting. Let me take myself for example. When I started business, when I started my company newly, my wife wasn't adding to the company financially, but she was adding to the company by the series of advice she gave me. The series of advice. And during that period, when I noticed that anytime I want to do something, and she advises me not to do it. If I do it, I end up losing my money.
But it's true.
So that's the
Any man that doesn't listen
losing,
to the wife, you know, they progress.
I end up losing my money. I noticed it, and over time I started taking her advice because she saw what I wasn't seeing. So is that she has taken that responsibility? So can I say that she has not contributed her own as a wife, or she has not been supportive? No, she has been supportive. So the burden thing is a thing we must teach our boys. Now, the reason why, IJ, you said you don't like this Bible thing, you know, the reason why we quote this thing is to remind, so that we are reminded of our responsibility, so that we don't feel like this is not our responsibility. So we must start on time to begin to teach the boy child that they must be responsible. They have the burden to cater for their family.
Yes.
Because once they know...
But that's the essence of that scripture.
That's the essence of that scripture. Thank you, Benson. That's
no,
the essence of the scripture.
Because you guys quote the scripture as in the man should do everything.
Okay, IJ, no, the scripture, IJ, wait, the scripture is this. It said,
I don't need to. I know what the scripture.
No, because a man that does not provide for his household, we should not just stop it on providing. Say, provide for your household. You gave the instances of the man going out to hunt.
Yes,
to
that
farm,
was how it
to
was
bring
then.
Yes. So that is being responsible. You are providing for your household.
Exactly.
But
today's context, the way they use it is very wrong.
Yeah.
Because the man doesn't need to go hunt again. A woman goes out to work, and a man goes out to work too.
Benson, this scripture was written before.
Where you guys learn it.
This scripture was written before I became a feminist, so it has changed.
Exactly.
Now whatever.
What did they change it to, please? What did they change it to?
What was it changed to? Please, I'm curious to know.
So that we'll know.
Yeah, so that we can learn.
No, it's not. It's not. When you say men this, men that, you are relegating women.
Exactly.
So it's not neutral.
You didn't relegate them because they are still your helpmeet.
No, but those things won't work. It won't work in
they're your partners.
It won't work in the present dispensation where we are all seeking for equality.
Exactly.
No, it's okay. I can be relegated, provided the man takes on the full responsibility.
You cannot be relegated because
Christian, I think you're
relegating for you.
No, I'm not deviating.
This is the
unless
point.
I didn't
Christian,
get
this is the
what
point.
you guys were talking about.
Okay, hold. Once somebody is at helpmeet, the person is a partner. All this is just about content. It's not about contest. If you are a helpmate or a partner, anybody that helps you in your business, okay, take say for example, somebody invests into your business. Can you say that person is not your partner? The person is your partner.
Depending on the level of investment.
Exactly.
You might be a shareholder.
Christian, whatever level of investment in business, whatever level, whether it is micro, whether it is small, whether it is large, he's a partner, he's a helper. Whether you like it or whatever context he wants to be. But this is the point. The point is that men should be known, they should be taught on time to be responsible. They should know that the burden is on them to cater for their family. Once they end up,
that's why we're talking about
when you say being responsible, what do you mean by that word, responsible?
Yes.
Responsible means catering for the family. Catering for the family does not mean the man will bring everything. Catering means not your responsibility as a head of the family. Not just relaxing because your wife is working, you go and relax somewhere and you feel the wife will work and bring money. No, that's where responsibility. Now, secondly, also, I said it's not about financial part of it. Responsibility is an ambiguous word. Responsibility also means making sure that the family is intact. The children are well taken care of. The children understand the norms. They all know what they need to do. They know their responsibilities. The children also know that they need to love themselves and support themselves. All this is also responsibility of the man. Same as
and the wife too. The wife
and
will
the
do the
wife
same
too.
thing.
Same as the wife too.
Okay.
So
So
that's
that's
why
why
you
it's
should
same
be
as the wife too.
partner. Yeah.
Okay.
Can I say
Mama
something,
wants to
OJ?
say something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
go
you,
ahead.
OJ. OJ, thank you. Well, I think why we're having all of this, it's good to have the interaction and see it from both sides. For today's topic, we're talking about the boy-child freedom. So if we could leave it at that rather than compare, it would help us achieve what we're trying to do. Chibuzo talked about empowering them by praying. He started with the prayers and then educating them and telling them what is expected of them. Tomorrow, we might have another topic on the screen, which will be girl-child freedom. Then if we don't compare, we will be focused. But if we start comparing, we'll lose it.
Comparing what? What are we comparing?
We're comparing men. Why really only men should do? That's exactly what we're doing now.
That's the freedom, because that's the freedom part of it. Because men have this burden that they should be the providers.
So
and
how do we empower them?
This Bible quote that a man who cannot provide is an if you know what I mean. So, like I said, no,
how do we empower them? That's the question. How do we empower young boys to grow?
Yes. How do you empower young boys to be responsible? To be responsible and know that everything doesn't have to come from you. If you're living alone, fine, you cater for yourself alone. If you have a partner, you should have a partnership and learn to be partners, because men always, most times in our culture, when a man marries a woman, the man wants to be here because he wants to pay all the bills and be here, and then the woman will not make certain decisions. So, but when you see your spouse as your partner, if you leave the men are dropping down every day by 50, by 45, 50. Men die younger more than women because of so much pressure on them. And that's one of the reasons we're going to talk about men's health next week, because it is so much pressure. It comes from all this.
So because they pay their bills, that's why they're dying. Because they pay
yes, there's so much pressure on men. There's so much pressure on men, and most times,
Mama, and IJ,
they don't even take care of themselves.
You guys hold your thoughts. I want Obi to say something.
Obi, go ahead.
Obi, please, come and call a truce.
We'll save the man.
Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome back.
Funny enough, I was just frolicking with my phone and press hand raise. I was just enjoying what you were saying.
What was going on?
Okay. Yeah. That's fine.
So, do you want to share a thought, or we should leave it at it was a mistake?
It depends on what you want me to speak on now.
Yeah, okay. So, in your own thoughts, based on everything you've heard, what else do you think we can do to empower boys? Okay, young boys that are coming up, how can you empower them?
Okay. There was a speaker that started also by saying first pray, which I will still align myself to. Now, second is also giving them that sense of responsibility. You understand? As boys are coming up, let there be whatever you're teaching your girl child anyway, let your boy child also know that he has to know that and learn. You understand? Whatever it is, be it domestic, be it anything at all, because your girl that you are teaching, if you leave your boy, he will go and mess up another girl out there's life. And your girl might meet somebody that is messed up from home. I believe that upbringing has a lot to do with what an adult man later becomes. You know, I've seen a man that was so pampered. I have a friend. He was so pampered and over pampered to the extent that he has this entitlement mentality that I've not seen him ever work, like have a defined occupation, but he has never lacked also. His siblings are always giving him. His mother is always giving him. Even at the age of 44, he has never had a defined work. You understand? That's from upbringing. There was this entitlement. Oh, maybe you're the only child, only daughter, son.
Only son.
You're the only son that, So his upbringing, sort of, and the kind of entitlement, whatever it is, they made him believe that as like being an only son in the midst of a female is an entitlement, like it's
So he's
something.
a son too. He's a son too. Mm-hmm.
He's a son, but others are female. You understand? He's a male, others are female. So being a male now,
exactly,
is something special that should entitle him for care. Every other person should provide for him. You understand? So that kind of a child, from upbringing, even from the domesticated aspect of it, like domestics, was also carried along like the female. The female are all doing well. Why wouldn't he? But it's just that separation. Like, don't do this. No, don't. You are a boy. Don't do this one. But they did not inculcate in him that,
You're a
sense
boy,
of
you have to work.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that also has affected him, obviously, to me anyway, obviously.
So you are saying that boy children should be empowered to at least take care of themselves. Because if you have a child, you're responsible for that child, so that at least when a child grows up, he will not be a nuisance to the society and to himself.
Yes, exactly.
I would say that the way girls are taught to make beds, clean the house, cook, domesticate girls. I feel that boys as well should get such trainings. Because sometimes you see a man, apart from you guys that live abroad, Nigerian men, it is very few of them that still change bulbs in the house. Anything in the kitchen, they would call a carpenter. This one happened, they will call electrician. That one happened, they will call this person. Okay? DIY only starts and ends abroad. So if you want to empower your son, you will teach him some things. If you also want to empower your son, you make him a balanced human being emotionally. Some people
because in abroad that you're saying, sorry to cut you off, in abroad that you're saying, boys and girls are raised almost the same.
Yes.
Except maybe in our culture, some of our
culture, I'm talking about
he's a boy, he's a girl. So boys do, girls go out to work, they cook, they clean, boys do, everybody do the same thing together. That's why when they have relationships, they do things together. Ataibo's hand is up.
Yes, Ataibo will talk after me, then Mama can take her question. But we know that predominantly in Nigeria, it is not the same. So that is why I'm saying raise your boy child to empower you know that it is if a man is able to control his temper, to control his tongue, that is where his strength lies. So if you raise your child to be emotionally stable, you raise him in love, you have empowered him. Some people were raised in struggle. Some people, you understand? So for me, if you raise your child to be an emotionally balanced human being, you have also empowered him somehow. Ataibo, please go ahead. And when Ataibo is done, Mama, you can ask your question.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah, hello, everybody. Now, I'm just going to say what you just covered now. My own way of empowering is what I believe in empowering your son is by teaching him to look after himself and love himself first.
Exactly.
He needs to look after himself and love him. Then he knows how to love others.
Exactly.
And in loving others, he knows that you have to look after people. We use the word responsibility a lot, and it's fine, but let him learn to love himself and look after himself. Number one is priority. When we were growing up, we didn't have boys or girls in my house.
Yeah,
we had chores. We had timetable. Everybody had a place in a time to cook. My brother in fact, the boys in my house are fantastic cooks. I don't know what I was doing. I think I was playing when they were teaching us to cook, but I don't know. But the boys in our house, they're good cooks.
You are being a boy, and the boys were
I was doing exactly. So they cook in our house. My mother says there's no boy, there's no girl. Everybody cooks, clean, wash the car. Everybody does the same thing down the line. So now I can even attempt to fix my blocked sink.
Yes.
I can attempt, if I fail, at least I tried, But it's
I
loving.
do everything.
Teach your son to love himself, to like himself, look after himself. He comes first.
That's why I say responsible.
He comes first. After him, everybody comes. I love myself. Since this is
Can
good
I
for
ask you a
me,
question?
sure you can.
Okay, please. I'm just thinking. Do you think taking care of, telling your boy child to take care of himself first, do you think in the long run it will be misconstrued to selfishness?
No, I think it because you to be self-reliant.
If you tell him to take care of himself, he becomes I'm just thinking, what about if the guy becomes so selfish and when he gets married, he only thinks about himself? Because he has been
I think what Atebo is saying is that
look after yourself. Take care of
yourself. Like
yourself
if you wake
first.
up, clean your bed,
Do all those kind of things for yourself. Be self-reliant.
part of everything instead of waiting. Because some
Self-reliant.
households,
It's
they
not
also have
good
to
for
come and make
yourself
everybody's
alone.
beds. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not good for yourself alone. You do for yourself and do for others. Once you do for yourself, it's like my bed looks clean, my bed looks nice, but you won't go to the kitchen and go and boil rice for himself when he lives in the house with people. He will boil rice for everybody in the house because he knows to do it.
Yes, because there's this
he's
video
hungry, he
trending
wants to eat. You want to eat
on Instagram.
You know?
Did you see that about a pregnant woman? A pregnant woman. The husband went out, came back late with the friends or something, and expected her to come and cook.
No way.
And it was trending last month on Instagram. And people and this story, this thing where it's like the same thing that boys go through, like the burden the guys go through. Women have their own burden too. So, I think everybody should take.
Can I also add something? And also that to empower a boy child also has to do it. We must be, the parents must be an example. An example,
yes,
to your to a boy child is a way of empowering the boy child. Sometimes some of these boy child copy, some of them copy the things their dad does.
Exactly.
Some of them, copy the bad, the good, the bad. So we as parents also, we must be responsible also. We must also be an example as a way of empowering the boy child.
Example.
Yeah. Let me ask this, Chibuzo. What if one is that parent, that father that doesn't have it in him to impact in the children? Because when we were growing up, I used to see people when we were growing up, they have these Ajabo people, they wake up in the morning, their breakfast is ready. Effiong will bring their uniform, they eat, and they go to school. They come back, they take off their uniform, everything, and litter it everywhere. Effiong will go around and pick it, pick them up and do the laundry. The only thing the kids know is, Junior, have you done your homework? Junior, go to bed. And they grew up like that. And then Effiong do all those things. Even the girls and the boys, they don't do anything. And then they end up, because back then, we had this narrow view of life, of the world. Everything ends and stop in Aba, Owerri, or Enugu. And then the world has evolved where we find ourselves thousands of miles away in the US, where it's just you and your wife. And your wife had the first baby, the mother, nobody is there, just you. And then this man that was raised, just read your books, do this, doesn't know how to boil water. And then the wife,
depression sets in.
The wife just had a baby and is struggling. This guy is one of the nicest person. He makes money. He focuses on his career, but he cannot help the wife.
Yes.
The wife just had a baby. The first child is going through this postpartum syndrome or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he thinks that the husband is a devil. And I have continuously had people, I tell them, say, look, because I do this, doesn't mean I'm better than this other person that doesn't do it. It's just the way we were raised. I go to area. I know all our, where we buy yam, everything. I know how to grind pepper with ikwe, mortar, tomato, all those things. That was our time. And the other people don't know how to boil water to save their life.
Exactly.
And then they are now thrown into this. Who do you blame? They say he's a deadbeat husband. He doesn't help. It's not in him.
He will say, "I'm bringing money. I'm bringing money." Because that's what society expects them to do.
Because that thing wasn't instilled. So that's
Yes.
where we go to blame our parents, our mothers. They created this monster that is rearing its head. So when we are demonizing these guys, we have to step back and say, hey, what happened? How did we get here? They didn't know. So I am giving responsibility to the women these days to make sure that even if your son is going to Oxford, even if your son is doing it, before you read that book, unless it's conflicting with your time to submit your homework, do your house chores, do dishes, boil some rice, learn how to, as you progress, learn how to, so that you can know. Some people will come out, take their shoes, take their socks off in the living room. They didn't know that they are doing something wrong because it's not in them, and they will do it tomorrow. They will see you carrying the baby, struggling to take the laundry down, and they will just be there and talking to their friends on the phone. It is not in them, and they don't think they are doing anything wrong. So I am challenging the women today that you love your son, and the son that you love, or your daughter, the best thing is to equip that guy to face society. If not, tomorrow he will come and join us in our group of men as scum, because that your adorable son will grow up, and the next thing, the society will force him to join our group. We have a WhatsApp group, the scum men, and he ceases to be your lovely son. So that's what I'm saying. So the way, when you say, how do you empower them? I'm making my son. I'm cooking. I'm telling him, you have to. I'm telling you, you have to do this. And once you do that, you don't need to tell them. If somebody is struggling to do something, offer to help. Show concern. Otherwise, if your wife is there, you said somebody came back and the wife was pregnant, and the first thing, what stage of the pregnancy? Is it the first or is it the second? Can't the woman, because some people are 7 months pregnant, they still go to here. Depending on the context, we'll just hear what is put on social media and we'll pass judgment. What was the context?
Okay. Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you so much. You've touched on so many things. And okay, the next, before I ask the next question, we'll talk about toxic masculinity. Refers to the notion that some people's idea of manliness perpetuates domination, homophobia, and aggression. Toxic masculinity involves cultural pressures for men to behave in a certain way, and this likely affects all boys and men in so many ways, in fashion, behavior, and all what. And Chris, you mentioned part of them as well. So how can we raise a boy without toxic masculinity? iPhone, you've got your hand up.
Oh, okay, I thought it was.
Yes, good afternoon. This is Olivia Abasoga, IJ's cousin.
Hi, Olivia.
Yes, I'm enjoying the conversation, and my contribution and what I'm learning, like what Oga Chris said, like I was raised in we're 8 in the family, 4 boys, 4 girls, and I'm the first, overall first. So and our parents, though 2 of my siblings, boys, weren't able to cook initially, but now they are cooking for themselves, and in some families, because of their wealth, they have house boys, house girls, and their family members that live with them. So they didn't get to cook or do some chores, while some people in their families, they didn't have, and they were doing everything. So we were not, I came from, I didn't come from a wealthy home. So we learned how to do a lot of things for ourselves, while our other cousins or family members that had didn't get to do all those things. Though I never felt, not loved or something, because some of them I still went to their homes and I felt okay, So in coming to America and being opportune to be in a wealthy home now and comfortable, I think I am comfortable, my kids, both my daughter, I had 4 step kids, they are grown now and left the house. Everybody, even the boy, he did help and did chores, and he did cook too. Then my own 2, boy and girl, I'm training them in a way that, both of them, I love them equal. I don't say, oh, because this one is a boy, so he doesn't have to do anything. No, he is doing everything and she is doing everything. He cooks for the whole, he's just 15, but he cooks for the whole family, some breakfast, lunch, or dinner, While in other homes, they say, oh, he's a boy, or he's the only boy, or he's the only girl. They are not going to do anything. You're messing up their lives, because in the long run, when they get married, it's going to affect them, or when they live by themselves, it's going to affect them in life. So it's better to raise them in a good way, whether boy or girl, African mentality or not, raise them to know that they are responsible, whether boy or girl, to take care of themselves and take care of their sisters or brothers or wife or girlfriend. It doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor. Just be a human being,
Exactly.
So that's
Just
my
be a human
contribution,
being.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right. So we're still on that question. Anyone wants to say something? OJ, did
I
you
can say something?
Yes, that's why. Go ahead.
So yeah, for me, I think that especially for our culture, we've learned to teach boys that they're not allowed to cry, they're not allowed to show emotions, they have to be strong all the time. And that's very, very dangerous to their emotional health, to their mental well-being, I think. So for me, I teach my boys, I only have boys, I teach my boys it's okay to cry, it's okay to be vulnerable, it's okay to be disappointed and show emotions, because you have to bring out those things. You have to let them out somehow. If you bottle them in and keep them in, that's when they become violent, that's when they lash out, especially if something has been going on for a long time and you keep it bottled in, one day you are going to explode and you're going to lash out and hit somebody, kill somebody, So I think it's very important to teach the boy that we are human beings. You can't show that you're human. It's okay. And have them grow up to be that way. In terms of the burden conversation that was going on before, I wanted to say that I don't think it's a burden to tell a boy that he needs to be able to care for his family. I take it more as a responsibility, like OJ said. The boys should know that they should be able to care for a family. They should know that they should be able to care for themselves. I've heard a lot of stories about young women who the men are just staying in the house, the woman will go out, work, come back home, and still, take care of the family at home. And that's not right. That's not right. Yeah. A lot of men are becoming lazy. They don't want to do much. They just want to be careful. And it shouldn't be that way. Somebody said something about maybe the person is the only son. I always use my husband as an example. He's an only child. Boy, girl, it's him. But the way he was raised to be able to be independent, to always have that independent thinking. Yes. Yeah, to be able to care for himself, to be able to stand up for himself and care for a family. And that's what he's doing right now and trying to show our boys. He knows that I'm here, I have a good job, I make enough, but he's also out there hustling, struggling, trying to make his own mark. It should be that way. Absolutely.
Together, working together as partnership.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what, right. And that's what I try to teach my sons. I mean, they see us, they know how much I make, they know how much he makes, but they can see him trying to be the head, trying to be the man of the house, trying to bring his own worth into the family. And they appreciate that. And I hope that one day they will be able to do the same. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Edmund. Anyone else wants to chip in on this? How can we raise a boy without toxic masculinity? Can I ask this? Can I say this? And I want a man to tell me if this amounts to toxic masculinity. If we keep telling our boys when they're growing up that they are the head, you're growing, you be the head. Is it toxic masculinity? Grace? Does it sound like it?
No.
So the statement is correct.
Yes.
You're not sure?
Just simply yes. But let me say, because when you say yes, it might be misunderstood.
Explain.
Yeah. And when I was, going for and back with Chibozo, I was trying to, be it was kind of in a sarcastic sense. Things will never be 50-50 with men and women. And it doesn't necessarily work. If it's 40, it doesn't mean you are not my partner. You are my partner, but there are times you defer the leadership to your wife. And there are times in areas you say, wife, address this issue. We understand. But in African society, especially in Nigeria, if anything is going wrong in your house, the first thing people come is, where is a man? Where is a husband? Nobody has ever come and say, where is a wife? I don't know if you understand the sense.
I do understand
so
that.
In that sense, my son or men, all these boys should be able to take control and manage it. If I buy all the foodstuff, ingredients, everything, I have to give it to my wife to make a very delicious soup. I can't do that. I can't just pour it in the pot. So what I'm trying to go with the analogy is that whatever you bring, somebody has to take leadership and fight. You guys can agree. So when you say be the head, be ownership, take ownership, be responsible. And responsibility means you give respect when respect is due.
Dominate.
You show understanding when you need to understand. You don't, even when you are going wrong, you say, I'm the man. No. You take leadership, you are a leader. So it doesn't mean you are Idi Amin, head of the house. So I know some people doesn't like to hear it, but it's always somebody. When it comes to areas, I say, hey, when Chibuzo was talking about the wife, you take advice. It's only a dead person that doesn't take advice. So as I talk to my son, what do you think about this? Anybody that is around me, what do you think about this? And you see their perspective. So it doesn't mean you are relegating your leadership or I will do it my own way. So yes, men should take leadership, but leadership, all the sense of what is a leader or who is a leader. So it's not you are the boss, you are going to lord it over us. So I still give men, leadership in their household. It doesn't mean they are autocratic leaders, they are the boss, it's either their way or no way. No, that's not what it means by men at the head of the household.
Okay. In defense of women like me who wants men to take on the responsibility, as against IJ who came in the wrong gender, next word should be a man and look after the women 100%. So in defense to women like me that believe that men should take risk, it's on the basis that they are the head. We hear you, they are the head. The head has to wear the crown.
But you are the neck holding the head. So without the neck, the head cannot, the head will be bubbling.
So masculinity, toxic masculinity built around all of that. You are the head, and that's where they feel I am the man of the house. And a lot of young boys grow up that way. They walk around the house telling you, I am the man of the house. My mommy says I'm the man. My daddy says I'm the man. It's fine. I like them to be the man. For me, how I would want to empower young people, even still groom some adults, because some adult men still behave like babies, is to constantly remind them to be responsible. Looking after themselves, when I just talked about looking after themselves, even I'm tilting towards personal hygiene. This is one thing a lot of nobody tells them most times. Yeah, few men will talk about it. Few men will
but
get.
That's their hormones, though. That's their hormones. It's their hormones there. And it was because of them. It was because of them. Age may invent roll up.
Yeah, we all have hormones, both the male and the female.
Yeah, but the male hormones is very
well. It has to be spoken about. You have to tell them. And there was something on the news in UK recently about men grooming themselves, having facials, and doing all sorts. I don't think it's a bad idea. I liked it.
No,
I liked it.
Beautiful.
So it's not just going to the barbing salon just to shave the hair. Do more for yourself as a child, as a boy. It's not just women that have skin. Everybody has a skin. Yeah. Like the business I used to do in the past, Mary Kay will tell you, once you have a skin, you can use our product. So that I think that's one thing we'll have to talk about. Let them know from that age, that young age, that
tell them it's okay.
Skin,
you're not losing
they should look after themselves mentally, physically, and otherwise, and they should prepare themselves for the future. And preparing themselves for the future would include being capable of looking after themselves and looking after anybody that comes to them, be it girlfriend, be it boyfriend, be it wife, husband, or whatever it may be. That is being responsible. And when it turns to burden is where you're managing responsibility that is beyond you. Then we can use the word burden. But taking responsibility, like doing the basic thing, I'll give a typical example. A young man could rent a one-bedroom flat and pay the house rent. When you get married, why is it a burden paying that same house rent? This is
Are you gonna live in one-bedroom apartment?
Yes, that's my example.
Okay, because one-bedroom apartment, any apartment you rent, you have to make 3 times that salary. So maybe for you to rent a one-bedroom, your salary meets that 3 times salary. For you to rent a 2-3 bedroom, your salary expectations will not meet it. So if you can marry somebody when your income will not match it, and she doesn't want to, that's a big burden, and that's why when men start getting sick. Let me give you an example. Many people who buy houses in America, I've seen couples who buy houses. They want to buy a house. They go to cheaper houses. Why? Because of their income ratio. They said that they wanted to buy those houses in case if she doesn't have a job, he can pay for it. If he doesn't have a job, she can pay for it. So you have to come in the middle. That's where the partnership. Because if my husband is a doctor and I'm just a stay-home wife, and we go and buy a $1 million home, and something happens to that doctor that he cannot work. So what happens? Hello. So you guys have to, that's why I said it has to be, you guys have to work together, know your income levels, and come in the middle. Yes, it happens. So you should know. So yes, if somebody lives in a one-bedroom apartment and the income meets it, their income might not meet 2-bedroom apartment. It's 3 times your salary to rent.
I don't know if because you were born in a family of boys, that's why you love boys.
No, because okay, I suffer the girl child freedom too. Okay, I suffer the girl child. They do the boys. I think my house like it's the boys do that to me too. They shift me aside, which is wrong. I'm part of the family, so everybody should be raised equally. Boys, girls, you know what I mean? Yeah. There's a document signed in my family, and the person said he wants all the boys in the family to sign it. I'm like, so I'm not a child. Okay. So all these things need to stop.
We'll look into that. We'll look into girl child freedom and say, oh, good.
We've done it before now. We've done the girl child 2 years ago.
We'll do it again.
It's, yeah.
Can't stop laughing. Thank you very much, everyone, for being a part of today's show. Sorry. It's been an interesting conversation. Please, we all have brothers. We all have sons. And we have boyfriends, we have husbands, and every other thing. We may have partners and all of that. Please, let's educate them. We're talking about them today. The topic of today's show is just about them. We'll go to the next segment. We'll talk about women, we'll talk about animals, we'll talk about everything that exists in life. So about men, we'll have to see how much we could do to empower them. If prayer works, please carry on with prayers. being physical about it, not fighting. And when I said physical, looking at the physical, practical things. Sorry, let me use the right word. Practical things that could support young boys and men to be better people for the society. Please, let's adopt it. Let's do it and work around it. It is very important, and they are seen, not just in Africa, in the whole world. Men are seen to be at the forefront, the leaders. They were not leaders. Let me change. I don't even know what to call them. The main people in every household. So now it's down to them to prove themselves, prove their worth. Don't be lazy. There is a big ratio of men who are lazy, especially in the Western world. It happened in the third world countries as well. In Nigeria, there's so many men who are very lazy because they have women who are working extra hard. And they may have gone through the right training as children growing up. But circumstances and what they've seen around them, anyway, if she can do it, that's fine, I can relax. Everybody has to chip in, everybody has to know what to do.
You know why they think that they're lazy? Because they'll be in their 40s and they go and marry 20-something-year-old lady. So by the time they'll marry for 20 years, he's tired, he can't walk, and their kids are little. For the lady is young. That's why when you're married, marry your age. What's gonna happen here? Zazie. But that's what happens.
And we heard you.
40, 41, and they got married 20-year-old child. By the time their kids will be in their 20s, this guy is 60s. He doesn't want who wants to be struggling at 60. So they want to, okay, my wife is making good care. If you look at it from that's what is happening. That's what is happening. Because women marry women that are 15, 20 years younger than them.
You're on fire today, babes. What's going on?
But it's true.
I agree with you. That's another topic. That is marriage.
Yeah.
Marriage will be the next topic.
Yeah.
We need to.
Because I've had people who experience that complaint. That's what is going on here. Yeah.
So right. For all the good reasons, men should be treated, or boys should grow up knowing that they could do things for themselves, because they might end up not getting married in life at all, or end up marrying a lazy person, or find themselves in a situation where they don't even have anybody to support them. And that's where whatever upbringing they get, or positive upbringing, that's where it comes to play and helps them succeed. Thank you very much, everyone, for being a part of today's show, and we'll see you next week. It's been an interesting one. I love you so much.
I love you too. It's all the buzzwords you gave me before. Now I'm fully awake. I was sleeping.
I can feel it. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.